Welcome to our channel. Today, we discuss a future that sounds like science fiction but may redefine everything we know about power, conflict, and survival. Imagine the year 2095. Earth is no longer the sole stage of human ambition. The greatest battles are not being fought over land, oil, or water, but over rocks drifting silently through space. Asteroids. Cold, ancient fragments of the early solar system that now represent the most valuable resources humanity has ever encountered. This is the story of why the war over asteroid mines will change everything, how we got there, what is really at stake, and why this conflict may permanently reshape civilization itself. To understand why asteroid mining becomes the spark for war, we first need to understand what happens to Earth over the next several decades. By the mid to late 21st century, Earth's population stabilizes but global consumption does not. Instead, technology accelerates demand. Artificial intelligence systems require unimaginable amounts of rare metals. Fusion reactors, quantum computers, planetary-scale data centers, space habitats, and climate engineering machines all depend on materials that are scarce or politically volatile on Earth. Elements like platinum, iridium, osmium, cobalt, nickel, and rare earth metals become the backbone of civilization, yet mining them on Earth becomes increasingly dangerous, expensive, and socially unacceptable. By the 2060s and 2070s, most accessible terrestrial deposits are either depleted or locked behind geopolitical instability. Deep-sea mining sparks environmental backlash. Nations realize that continuing down this path risks ecological collapse. That is when the focus turns outward, not as a dream, but as an economic necessity. Asteroids, once objects of curiosity and fear, suddenly become treasure chests floating in plain sight. Some metallic asteroids contain more platinum group metals than have ever been mined in all of human history. One medium-sized asteroid can be worth tens of trillions of dollars by Earth standards. At first, asteroid mining is cooperative. International coalitions form. Treaties are signed, and space agencies partner with megacorporations. The language is hopeful. Humanity expanding together. Resources for all. Conflict-free abundance. Robotic mining platforms are launched, followed by autonomous refineries that process raw material in space, avoiding the massive cost of returning everything to Earth. Space-based manufacturing explodes. Orbital habitats grow. The first permanent industrial zones appear in cislunar space, but abundance has a way of revealing deeper human instincts. As asteroid mining becomes profitable, power concentrates rapidly. The nations and corporations that control early infrastructure gain overwhelming advantages. They own the launch systems, the AI navigation networks, the orbital shipyards, and the security platforms. Smaller nations become dependent clients. Earth-based economies begin to fracture between those who have access to space resources and those who do not. By the 2080s, asteroid mining is no longer experimental. It is the backbone of the global economy. Currency systems are partially backed by space-mined materials. Entire cities on Earth rely on asteroid-derived components for energy grids, transportation, and medical technologies. At the same time, the legal framework governing space begins to erode. Old treaties, written when space activity was symbolic, prove inadequate. They never anticipated permanent extraction, militarized protection of mining claims, or AI-controlled fleets operating millions of kilometers from Earth. The first real tensions emerge quietly. A mining drone from one coalition accidentally alters its trajectory and interferes with another group's claim. Communication delays make accountability murky. Was it a software error, or a deliberate provocation? No one knows for sure. Similar incidents multiply. Navigation beacons go offline. Autonomous cargo ships disappear. Each side denies responsibility, but trust erodes rapidly. Meanwhile, space itself has changed how war is perceived. There are no civilians in the traditional sense, but the infrastructure is critical to billions of lives on Earth. Disabling a single asteroid refinery can spike metal prices overnight, collapsing economies and destabilizing governments. Space becomes the ultimate high ground. Whoever controls orbital space controls supply chains, energy flows, and technological progress. By the early 2090s, alliances harden. What were once corporations backed by governments now function as quasi-sovereign entities. They maintain private security fleets equipped with non-nuclear kinetic weapons, electronic warfare systems, and autonomous defense swarms. Officially, these systems are defensive. In reality, they are capable of destroying mining installations, hijacking cargo, and denying access to entire regions of space. The war does not begin with an explosion. It begins with silence. A cluster of mining stations around a highly valuable metallic asteroid stops responding. Earth-based analysts initially assume a system's failure. Then market algorithms react. Prices surge. Panic spreads across financial networks. Within hours, retaliatory cyber actions are launched. AI-controlled logistics systems are disrupted. Navigation data becomes unreliable. Space traffic grinds to a halt in key corridors. When physical violence finally occurs, it is unlike anything in human history. There are no dramatic dogfights like in old science fiction films. Instead, precision strikes occur at orbital velocities. A single impact, calculated perfectly, can reduce a multi-billion-dollar facility to a cloud of debris. Autonomous weapons do not feel fear or hesitation. They execute objectives relentlessly, guided by predictive models that anticipate enemy responses seconds, hours, or even days in advance. Earth watches helplessly. Communication delays mean decisions are always behind reality. Political leaders issue statements that feel meaningless. The real war is being fought by algorithms interpreting probabilities, risks, and resource values. Humans are still involved, but increasingly removed from direct control. This is one of the first times in history where war moves faster than human decision-making. The psychological impact is immense. People on Earth realize that their lives depend on battles happening millions of kilometers away, battles they cannot see and barely understand. A strike on an asteroid mine can mean rolling blackouts in cities, shortages of medical devices, or the collapse of critical climate control systems. War is no longer distant. It is embedded in everyday life. What truly changes everything, however, is not just the scale or location of the conflict, but its consequences for the concept of sovereignty. Traditional borders become irrelevant. Power is no longer measured by territory or population, but by orbital presence and resource control. Nations without space infrastructure effectively lose independence. They must align with space powers or face economic strangulation. At the same time, the war forces humanity to confront the ethics of expansion. For decades, space was portrayed as humanity's escape, a fresh start beyond Earth's mistakes. The asteroid war shatters that illusion. Humans bring their rivalries, inequalities, and power struggles with them. The dream of space as a peaceful frontier dies, replaced by the reality of space as the next arena of competition. Technologically, the conflict accelerates innovation at a staggering pace. Autonomous systems become more sophisticated. AI governance models emerge to manage resource allocation and conflict de-escalation, not out of idealism, but necessity. Human brains simply cannot keep up. Space-based industries develop self-healing infrastructure, adaptive manufacturing systems, and decentralized energy networks designed to survive attacks. Socially, Earth begins to fracture along new lines. Those connected to the space economy prosper. Those excluded feel abandoned. Political movements emerge demanding access to space resources as a human right. Others call for complete demilitarization of space, though such demands struggle to gain traction while the war continues. As the conflict drags on, it becomes clear that no side can achieve total victory. Destroying asteroid mines hurts everyone. The debris generated by warfare threatens navigation for all. A cascading chain reaction of orbital debris, something once feared around Earth, now looms across the inner solar system. Humanity risks making space itself unusable. This realization leads to a turning point. Not a sudden peace, but a slow, painful shift in thinking. The war over asteroid mines exposes a fundamental truth: space resources are too powerful, too interconnected, and too essential to be controlled through force alone. Survival requires cooperation at a level humanity has never achieved before. By the late 2090s, new frameworks begin to emerge. Not perfect, not utopian, but radically different. Resource sharing protocols enforced by transparent AI systems. Neutral space zones protected collectively. Economic models that treat asteroid resources as shared infrastructure rather than spoils of conquest. These changes are not born from moral awakening, but from hard-earned understanding that the alternative is collapse. The War of 2095 changes everything because it marks the moment humanity fully leaves Earth, not just physically, but psychologically. It forces us to redefine power, responsibility, and identity on a cosmic scale. It shows that our future is not just about technological capability, but about whether our values can evolve fast enough to match it. In the end, the conflict over asteroid mines is not really about rocks or metals. It is about who gets to shape the future of civilization. It is about whether humanity repeats its oldest mistakes on the largest stage imaginable, or whether it finally learns that in a universe this vast and unforgiving, cooperation is not idealism, it is survival. If you found this exploration of the future fascinating, unsettling, or thought-provoking, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into science, technology, and the future of humanity. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think humanity will unite in space, or will conflict always follow us wherever we go? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.